So we finally have a full lineup for World's Strongest Man, and all the athletes are now officially invited. As far as I understand, all the medicals are done, so this is confirmed as we speak. Obviously, injuries happen in the build up to World's Strongest Man, so sometimes there is replacements, but as it stands right now, I have the full list of 25 competitors plus the 2 reserves. We'll go through them in alphabetical order. First up, we've got Andrew Flynn. Now, Andrew obviously qualified through Britain's Strongest Man. Been looking for an opportunity for years. Great strong man, good all-rounder, and it's fantastic to see him getting an opportunity to compete at the highest level. He's been knocking on the door for a long, long time, and yeah, I'm really pleased to see him getting those opportunities. Next up, we've got Austin Andrade. Super impressive the last couple of years, really sort of cemented his place as one of the top guys in the world, and getting better and better as well. I mean, I think he's one of the guys that can really sort of go in there and you know he's going to deliver big performances. Yeah, and I've been thoroughly impressed with him the last few years. Next up, we've got a new guy, Bryce Johnson. Now, I don't know a lot about Bryce. Obviously, did amazingly well at OSG, has got his opportunity through the back of that. And I have no issue with seeing new guys. I actually like it. So OSG has got to a point now where it's such a tough competition. I know they officially, it's if you win OSG or if you come top 3 at OSG, you get an opportunity at Giants Live. But I personally actually agree with this decision because it is such a tough competition to win. So many good guys at OSG now. There's been guys in recent years that have done really well at OSG and then gone to World's Strongest Man and made it through to the final. So it kind of cements its place as a really tough competition and a valid qualifying competition as well. Next up, we've got Eddie Williams. Now, Eddie Williams for me is one of the most improved strongmen in the world at the minute. A few years ago, he was kind of like, big, good, pretty good, great fun, sings, everything else. But, I mean, I think last year was sort of the real turning point where he proved that he's legitimately like one of the top guys in the world now. Performed really well at World's Strongest Man. Was really unlucky not to make the final. Just, tough group. It's tough to make the final of World's Strongest Man now. But he was very, very competitive. He then followed that up with a performance in Vegas where he came 3rd, I believe, and guaranteed his spot at World's Strongest Man. So, yeah, Eddie's a very, very improving strongman, and it's great to see him doing well. Next up, we've got last year's 3rd place, Evan Singleton. I've always been a big fan of Evan as a competitor. I think he's an incredible strongman, an absolute physical specimen. He's got real talent, real ability, and I feel like he's someone that could be in a position to be challenging for winning the competition, but he's 100% a contender for podium. Whether he can get in the mix with Tom and Mitch, we will see. But he's certainly one of the guys, in my opinion, that can be in that conversation when we're talking about potential winners. Next up, we've got Evans Nana. Now, Evans, again, same sort of thing, very talented, very good strong man, in my opinion. Performed really well at World Tour Finals with Giants Live last year. Was really impressive. And, he's another guy that's on the rise. He's getting better with every show. He's a good all-rounder. He's pretty good at everything. And lovely guy as well. I'd love to see him do well. Next up, now this is someone that a lot of people are talking about performing really well at World's Strongest Man. He's had some great performances in other shows. Would be fantastic to see him at World's Strongest Man finally, is Lucas Hatton. Now, he's podiumed at a couple of Arnolds in the last couple of years. Won America's Strongest Man, I believe. Very talented. I mean, one thing I would say about Lucas, I mean, I've even done it myself. Sort of, I looked at him and I was like, I expect him to be a good presser, sort of good at the static stuff. But he's actually, even from, my own point of view, I'll hold my hands up. He's a much better athlete all round than I perhaps expected him to be. Sometimes you can do well at the Arnolds if you're not necessarily a good all-round strongman, but you're good at the static stuff. But actually, credit where it's due, Lucas is a great all-round strongman, and I'm sure that a lot of people will have him in their conversation for coming top 5, podium, or even winning the whole show. He's a very, very good all-round strongman, and it will be interesting to see how he fares. Next up, another talented guy, very young, Luke Richardson. Obviously, everyone sort of knew him as the future. I don't think he's the future anymore. I think he's legitimately one of the top guys in the world, just off the back of a very good, consistent performance at Europe's Strongest Man, where he won the show, and a couple of good performances at the back end of last year in Giants Live as well. It would be great to see Luke put in a really good performance at World's Strongest Man, because he's definitely capable. He made the final of World's Strongest Man a few years back, and I'd like to see him sort of push on from that now and start really cementing himself as one of the top guys. Luke Stoltman. Now, Luke's always there or thereabouts. It's always a contender in any show he does. I think Luke's legitimately top 10 in the world. Very good strongman, as we all know. Okay, maybe loses a few points on like a deadlifting event. I don't know how he'll fare with the 18-inch deadlift, because sometimes, oh, I don't know if I should have said that, because obviously the finals events haven't been released yet, but I think they're being released today. Well, actually, I know they're being released today. There's an 18-inch deadlift in the final for Max. Maybe that will fare better for Luke. It's a real possibility. Some guys are very good at 18-inch deadlifts as opposed to regular. Some people are the other way as well. They're much better sort of from a regular deadlift. But Luke's always there or thereabouts anyway, apart from perhaps being sort of a mid-pack on the deadlift kind of guy. Everything else is very up there. He's very consistent. So it would be great to see Luke do well. I think Britain's Strongest Man this year was probably the best I've ever seen him. He was in amazing shape, obviously trained really well for it, performed really well, showed his experience as well. He was very consistent, and I think that, yeah, again, Luke's one of those guys that's in that conversation for potential top 5 finishes, maybe even podium. So, yeah, I mean, what a story that would be if you could see two brothers on the podium at World's Strongest Man, and it's a possibility. The big man's back as well, Mateusz Kielikowski. Now, Mateusz, for me, probably, I mean, I would probably say he's the best strongman, certainly in recent years, to not win World's Strongest Man. He's a great guy, great athlete, really performs well in big shows regularly. Has had a rough few years, sort of up and down with injuries and stuff. But there were signs at Europe's Strongest Man, he's coming back to his best. And if Mateusz is anywhere near his best, he's definitely a threat in any show. Again, similar to Luke, I mean, actually, I would say maybe even more so. He's exceptionally good at everything except deadlift. So I don't know how he'll fare with the 18-inch deadlift, but is Mateusz good enough on everything else to still be in the mix? Potentially. We'll see. Matthew Ragg. Now, Matt's another one of them guys, came through that OSG route. Every opportunity he's had, he's performed well. Pretty good all-rounder. Very strong, massive deadlifter. I think Matt's very sort of quiet and unassuming, and delivers big performances. He's not sort of this huge personality in terms of like really out there, but real decent guy, real nice guy, great for the sport of strongman, and obviously a fantastic athlete as well. Maxime Boudreau. Now, Maxime, I've always been impressed with. I think he's a real good strongman, a good athlete, very athletic on some of the events. I would imagine there's a couple of the events in the final he'll do really well on. I would expect him to do well on the throwing event in the heats as well. Maxime is very explosive and a good strongman. I don't think he's quite sort of built on that position of when he come third at World's Strongest Man in 2021. But obviously he has had a couple of injuries along the way, big ones as well. And, you know, obviously if you've podiumed at World's Strongest Man, you know that you've got some pretty good ability. You don't get a podium at World's Strongest Man by fluke. And I think that sort of shows his credentials to an extent, and hopefully he's firing on all cylinders and ready to go. Next up, Mitch Hooper. Now, I think obviously everyone sees Mitch as the favourite. I mean, I think anyone that knows anything about strongman, watches the sport, would know that Mitch is the favourite at the minute. He was absolutely incredible back end of last year. Started off this year with obviously the Arnolds, where he was pretty dominant. Always sort of looks like he's got another gear to go into still as well. That I think that's the most impressive thing. It's not just that he's winning these shows and sometimes winning them without even needing to do the last event. He also, to me, looks like he's got more to give as well. It's not like he's going out doing an event and literally going to the absolute max to win it. He's winning it and still looks like he's got another 10% he's holding back. So he's definitely the favourite. I would personally say he's a very clear favourite. Obviously, Tom, I've seen him grow up. You know, he's a fellow Brit. I would love to see Tom win it again. But I think even someone who's a little bit sort of, you know, got that sort of friendship and that sort of bond with someone, as a non-biased view, of course, you've got to sit there and say that Mitch is the favourite, no matter what your bias and allegiance is. He's an incredible athlete, an absolutely amazing strongman, and I just can't see, at the moment personally, I can't see a situation where he doesn't win World's Strongest Man, but who knows? I could be wrong. Another new guy at World's Strongest Man, Nick Guardione. I saw him compete a few times last year. Really good strongman. Just did the Arnolds recently and wasn't like one of the guys challenging, but I don't think the Arnolds necessarily suit some of his strengths. He is a very athletic strongman, and I think that type of competition could lean more towards a better performance, a big performance. I think that the fact that he's sort of that more athletic type could bode well for him at World's Strongest Man. And although World's Strongest Man isn't light anymore, like some people seem to think it is very hard and very tough. It is a little bit more athletic and a bit more sort of moving around and running around than the Arnold's is. Arnold's tends to be more static lifts, 2 overhead presses, stuff like that. Whereas World's Strongest Man tends to favour sort of more moving events and stuff like that. So I think that Nick could surprise a few people if you were to judge him on his Arnold's performance. And we've got Pavlo Cordiaca, former Europe's Strongest Man. Now, Pavlo, I've always rated Pavlo. I think he's a great strongman. I would say the last year or two, he's looked like he's took a little bit of a dip, if I'm honest. And this obviously is nothing personal. It's not a slight on him. It's not saying that he's not capable. He's one Europe's Strongest Man. You don't win that by fluke. But I do feel like, and I don't know what he's had in terms of injury, stuff like that. You know, there's always stuff outside of your performance that can affect it. But I haven't seen the best of him the last couple of years, in my opinion. And maybe this could be the time that he comes back and shows everyone what he's made of again. I mean, with the right events, in the right competition, when Pavlo's at 100%, he can deliver incredible performances. So he's one of those guys you would definitely, if you got him in your group, you'd be looking at it going, oh God, you know, this is going to be tough. You know, things like loading races and stuff like that, he's going to be absolute dynamite. even the press medley in the heats, if he nails that, could be very difficult to beat. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing Pavlo. Shane Flowers. Shane, for me, is one of the most talented strongmen to sort of come from England in recent years. Very, very good. Not been doing the sport that long either. Good all-rounder. Great at the throwing events. Yeah, he's pretty solid presser. Deadlift's good. Moving events are good. I'd say Shane is one of those guys who's just sort of very consistent. I mean, you'd probably say he's definitely up there with the very best on the throwing events. But he's pretty good at everything. Big fan of Shane. I think he's got a big future ahead of him. Thomas Evans. He's a bit of a funny one, Tom, because he's a very, very good strong man, and obviously it's never anything critical. Did amazing at the Rogue Invitational last year. I mean, was really impressive. He does have those sort of really, those times where he really has a lot of ability, and you can see the potential in him as well. Just at World's Strongest Man, it hasn't quite fallen right for him yet. But again, going back to sort of what I said about a few of the guys, it doesn't mean he's not capable. He's proven at a big show that's tough against the best guys in the world. He can deliver when he's on form and when everything falls right. And obviously, being at World's Strongest Man, it's very different in terms of like the TV schedule and stuff like that. So you do have to get used to it almost. It's very different to some of the other shows. So maybe sometimes that throws some of the guys off in their first couple of years. But Thomas Evans is definitely capable. And, I mean, going through this lineup so far, we're 17 in, and there's not one guy I'm sitting there thinking they shouldn't really be there. Those days are long gone. All the guys are exceptionally good. Next up, we've got Tom Stoltman. Obviously won World's Strongest Man last year. Most people, I think, are expecting a showdown between him and Mitch, if they all turn up in top shape. Obviously, when Tom's on, he's someone that can really challenge Mitch. And I think sometimes he gets, a lot of the time, he gets a lot of unfair criticism with some of the other shows where sometimes he doesn't quite deliver. I think something we really all need to remember about Tom is the autism thing. Now, yes, he manages it exceptionally well and it's amazing, but I think that people sometimes forget that. Like, he really didn't feel good in Vegas and didn't perform well. And I didn't really sort of think much of it. Just thought, maybe he's just having a bit of a dip in form at the moment, not feeling too good, whatever. But then he sort of put the video out and explained, like, when I was in Vegas, I found, like, some of the things quite overwhelming. And the lights, the busyness, the smell of weed everywhere, even in the hotel. It's very, like, intense in terms of you get a lot of impressions from things. And obviously that's me as someone who's not got autism. I know that autistic people are very affected by these things and they perhaps don't deal so well with change. I think Tom manages his autism extremely well, but it's something that we should all consider when you're sitting there thinking about typing something mean on the internet. It's, if you've had an experience with someone who's a friend, family, whatever, who's got autism, you would know how much they struggle sometimes with certain situations. Things changing, not having structure, sometimes it can be very overwhelming for them. It can be overwhelming for all of us, but to the point where it's like they can't almost function. And I think because Tom manages it so well a lot of the time, we forget that that's the situation. So at World's Strongest Man, generally seems to feel quite comfortable. I don't know if it's like the slower pace, the way it is, but he does seem to sort of feel comfortable. And I think that's why he's always got that ability to turn up better at World's Strongest Man than all the other shows. I mean, we've seen it even at Strongest Man on Earth. You know, he, I think it was not last year, the year before, he come dead last on the first event, zeroed the press. But then he come through and just like started dominating events as the show went on. And I don't know if that was just that he sort of settled in and calmed his nerves and everything, or what it was. But when you watch Tom do some events, you can see he's more than capable. It's just about stringing it together. And he, even when he's performing badly, he still has those moments of absolute brilliance. And I think that that's probably why at World's Strongest Man he has that sort of, because he feels a bit more comfortable, he does turn up and he delivers those performances on every event rather than just a couple of them. Trey Mitchell up next. Trey is definitely someone I think's in the conversation for top 5 at World's Strongest Man. Where in that top 5, obviously a lot will depend on events. I do think that there's a couple of events in the final which might cause him a couple of problems, but then I could be wrong. Trey, to me, is a great strongman. Again, good all-rounder. I think coming back from that Achilles tear, he's done so well. And since he's come back, he seems to have sort of got back to his best very quickly and then almost starting to surpass that as well. But Trey's a great guy, great strongman. And I would love to see him put in a big performance at Worlds and potentially get on the podium. He's again, one of those guys that's in the mix. Tristan Hoeth up next. Tristan, I was really impressed with at Worlds last year. First shot at it was really impressive. I mean, it was just consistent, solid. I was super impressed with him. I mean, in your first year at World's Strongest Man, I can't remember if he was 5th or 6th, but to do that in your first year is no easy feat. He was very, very impressive in the heats as well. And I think he's just one of those guys, he's kind of like a bit of an old school strongman where he's just good at all the like awkward stuff and, you know, perhaps not a humongous deadlifter, he's not a massive presser, but he's really good at those sort of old type strongman events. He's got a great grip, you know, he's a good thrower. He's one of those guys that's just sort of very consistent. And I think he's definitely got, an opportunity to make the final. I can't see he's going to be challenging for the win, but he's certainly someone that has the potential in a couple of years' time, more experience at the big shows and stuff like that, to be putting in big performances. And real nice guy as well. All right, so next up we've got Reino Nell. Now, I don't know a lot about Reino, so believe it or not, I know he's won Champions League, like the overall thing, and I know that people speak very highly of him. I've heard a few people mention how he's real, like, dangerous, one of those real stars in the making. So I am really excited to see him compete. Like I said, I've heard so many good things about him. So to actually sort of see him in action, I can't wait. Paddy Haynes next. Paddy just missed out on qualification for Worlds at Britain's Strongest Man. Coming 4th, zeroed the log press. He seems like he's got my curse of being pretty good at all the events, but absolute dog shit at pressing. But he's got plenty of time to get better and plenty of years ahead to improve on that. But Europe's Strongest Man comes out, puts in a pretty solid performance on the pressing event. Although I think he was probably a little bit disappointed with where he got to. I think he felt like he could have done slightly more, but then comes out, smashes the world record on the shield walk, puts in a great stone run, deadlifts really well. I mean, he was very impressive. And I think that Paddy, for me, is someone, if I had him in my group at World's Strongest Man, if like when they released the groups, I'd be sitting there thinking, right, so we know we've got a loading race, we know we've got a deadlift, we know we've got a press medley, which is probably the best opportunity he's got as a press to do well, and we know we've got a throwing event. He is unbelievably athletic, very fit, very fast. I'd be looking at it going, he could be a problem. Now, I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but Paddy is definitely one of those guys that could shock the world to an extent. Do not be surprised if he goes there and makes the final. If anyone's writing him off because they don't know who he is or don't know that much about him, I promise you, do not be shocked if he goes there and upsets some of the big names and actually ends up making top 10 at World's Strongest Man. Right, so now we're down to the last few spots that, they were sort of not confirmed. Now, I will just say about when they're announcing the athletes, it's very difficult for them to announce until the guys have got all their medicals done, things like this. So, although these guys have known for a little while that they're competing, not that long admittedly, but they have known for a little while, they can't actually push it. These guys are going until they've got their medicals and all their information back. So, obviously, if they announce someone's competing and then the guy goes and has the medical done and fails, it's kind of then you've got to go through the process again. It's just better to get all that set in stone before you do it. Anyway, right, we've got Wes Dawinski. Now, Wes was fantastic last year. Great throwing, pretty solid all-rounder. It seems like all the Canadians tend to have really good grips and they're really good at throwing. And obviously, I think that's when they're all competing against each other all the time. Of course, they're going to sort of if one's very good at an event, it sort of brings everyone else up. But I think Wes is a great guy, great strong man. And again, first year at World's Strongest Man last year, made the final. Great to see him back. I mean, because the numbers were reduced down to 25 this year. And so, part of that is so they can show more action of each guy in the heats. If there's 6, it's another person that they have to show bits of. So anyway, it's to show more action of each individual. Wes wasn't on the original list in terms of the first lot of invites, even though he made final World's Strongest Man last year. Now, I'm pleased to see him get the invite. I think he deserves it. It's just obviously it's been a bit tricky with it all, with Europe's being so close and the final invites, and then figuring out who is going to take up them last few spots. But I'm pleased to see he finally got the call up and is competing. I mean, it is very tough now because there's so many good guys. I think back in the day, it was like if you made the final, you pretty much knew that you were coming back the following year. The way the sort of dynamics of the sport are now, where there's probably 100 guys that are good enough to compete at World's Strongest Man, it does make it more tricky with sort of just giving out those wild card spots. And also there is a much clearer qualification route now. So you can go and earn your opportunity. If you think you're good enough, you can go to OSG, come top 3 there, get to a Giants Live, come top 3 there, and you guarantee your spot at World's Strongest Man. So if anyone out there is wondering how you get into these shows, that's a way to guarantee it for yourself. Right, so 24th compare, Andre Foitu. Now, Andre, I think I first saw him compete at OSG Europe's, was impressed but wasn't sort of blown away until I heard how young he was. And then I was like, okay, let's see where this goes. And ever since I've seen him compete that first time, he's just gone and raised the bar each time. I thought he was super impressive at Europe's Strongest Man. He was very good at World's Strongest Man last year. He even pushed Hooper on a couple of events hard. So he's dangerous. He's 23 years old. Got a massive future ahead of him, and he is improving very quickly. So I fully expect a big performance from Andre, and real nice guy as well. Very sort of quiet, unassuming, just goes about his business. Always smiling. So he's great backstage and stuff as well. But very impressed with him. I think he's a very, very good up and coming strong man. He's already a very good strong man, but when you start looking at the picture of him being 23, and it's not like he's one of them guys that sort of looks like he's matured very early, like he's sort of just peaked earlier. He still looks like he's got more to give. So yeah, I'm really impressed with Andre, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him compete. Right, so the final one of the 25 is Jacko Schoonwinkle. Now, Jacko has been impressive at World's Strongest Man. Came to Giants Live Glasgow, got sick. Ended up having to pull out of the competition, which is a shame. But just 2 years ago, in the heats with Brian Shaw, beat Brian in the heats, and was super impressive. All of us were like, Jesus, where's this guy been hiding? Came through the OSG route as well. Very good strongman. When you get into those last few spots, it's kind of like you could make an argument for loads of guys. Rauno, Avars, a load of the American guys that place well at OSG and North America's Strongest Man and things like this. There's a number of guys that you could start going, any number of like guys out in sort of Eastern Europe. There's guys that you could fill those spots in and they could deliver. Like I said, there's probably 100 guys that could perform at World's Strongest Man now. The talent pool's very deep. But the one thing I would say is they like to go with people like Jacko. They know he's not a pain in the bum. They know he's easy to work with. There's no one actually officially qualified in that spot, so they've got to give it to someone. They know he can deliver on camera. They know he can deliver at the show, his performance. So, you sometimes get into that realm of like, why risk bringing in someone new when we know, if we've got this guy and we know this guy can deliver and this one's a risk, why would you take the one that's a risk? Now, like I said, there's a clear route into World's Strongest Man. Just get yourself out to OSG. If you think you're good enough and you want to be there, get yourself out to OSG, win that or place top 3, get to a Giants Live, place top 3 there, and you're in. So, there's none of this, my face doesn't fit. You can go and take it out of everyone's hands and go and grab that opportunity with both hands. There is a clear route to get you into World's Strongest Man if you are willing to go and compete at OSG and then come top 3 in a Giants Live. Now we've got 2 reserves. We've got Tim Buck, who also came through that OSG route, came 3rd, I believe, at OSG. Obviously, having him there, it's good experience for him. He's getting a Giants Live opportunity at some point in the near future through placing top 3 at OSG. So he'll be in with a shot of getting those qualified spots for next year. It just came a little bit too soon for him. There was no Giants Lives after OSG, apart from World Tour finals and guys and ones that he's not eligible for because they're Britain's Strongest Man and Europe's Strongest Man. But he will get his opportunity soon. Him being reserve at World's Strongest Man will be great experience for him. He'll get to see what's going on, get to test some of the events, test some of the equipment and stuff like that. So I'm sure he'll learn a lot from that, ready for when he does qualify for World's Strongest Man. And last but not least, Par O'Dwyer. Now, Par has had an up and down couple of years. I know some people might perhaps think that he doesn't necessarily deserve his spot. I think Par's a very good strongman. I think, again, because he's quite vocal about certain things and because of the character he is, I think people either love him or hate him. And I think he's a very funny guy. I think he's a really good strongman. He's a good all-rounder. I think he doesn't get enough credit for how good he is as a strongman. But, he performed pretty well at Europe's. Not his best performance, but was pretty solid and did... sort of look at like small things where if he'd have just got, because there was one of the press on the safe press, he almost locked it out. Like he pretty much did, it just wasn't stable. It's one of those ones that can go either way. If that had gone his way, that would have bumped his points up quite a bit. His performance wasn't bad. If you break it down, his deadlift was pretty solid. So for anyone who says he doesn't deserve it, well, good thing that you're not the ones making the decisions. And plus having Par there backstage and everything, he's good energy for everyone. He's always at World's Strongest Man, very good backstage. He's a good laugh. He's great at doing some of the things like getting the fans sort of involved and, you know, cracking some jokes and stuff. So I'm glad to see him there. And like I said, he's not just there for comedy value. He's not just there for the entertainment side. He's a very good strongman as well. And like I said, I don't think he gets enough credit for that. So there's your full lineup. I will pop it just there, a list of it. I mean, it's hard to argue with some of the guys on the list, but it's also easy to argue. There's so many good athletes now. There's so many absolute elite guys that it's very hard. And you could argue probably 5 of the guys on the list and go, well, this guy should have been there instead of him. And it's kind of like, you know, you can make a case for that. I mean, this is the problem. There's so many good guys. Unless you go and cement your spot and win your way there, it's very difficult. I mean, you know, you think even from Britain, we've got Adam Bishop, been a quality performer at World's Strongest Man, not going this year. Gab Bilton almost made the final the last couple of years, didn't get to go, you know, and obviously I'm speaking from a British point of view. There is so many guys that are very, very good in every country that could go there and perform. So I think that's why it's so important now. If you want to be at World's Strongest Man or be in that mix, you've got to obviously be winning shows outside of that sort of realm of Giants Live and World's Strongest Man, but also get yourself down to OSG, get yourself qualified, get to Giants Live, come top 3 there, and then you guarantee your spot. Then you're not sitting there hoping and praying for a wild card spot. You can win your right to be there. So if you are one of these guys that's sort of on the way up and is looking to get out to World's Strongest Man in the future, just get out to OSG and earn your spot there. Anyway, I will be releasing another video very shortly with the events. The events are coming today. They might even be out by the time this video gets uploaded. I think it's going to be really exciting. I like the events. I think that, you know, it's different. There's some different stuff in there. So obviously I don't know if the events have been released yet, so I can't talk about it at the minute. But anyway, it's going to be exciting. And now we've got the sort of the athletes, the events. Next, we'll get the groups at some point soon, and we can start sitting there and piecing it together and going, right, now who do we think is going to make the final and who do we think is going to win? So let's sort of, us as strongman fans, let's try and put the negativity or the negative stuff that's gone on recently behind us. I know that the guys at World's Strongest Man are chatting very heavily with all the athletes, not just Mitch, and trying to get things on track, which I know will happen as well. Everyone wants it to be the best show it can be, so everyone's working together on that in a united sort of unit, and that's what will happen. And yeah, let's start getting excited about the show and start getting excited about how good all the athletes are and how great it's going to be to see how it turns out. But yeah, there you have it anyway. I know that World's Strongest Man are going to be posting more regularly moving forwards. It has given them a bit of a kick up the bum, which, you know, that's a positive that's come out of what's been said and what's gone on. So all we can do now moving forwards is move forwards. If we sit there and dwell on the past and what has been, it will, you know, obviously not help anyone. So if everyone sort of unites and we all get behind the show, then it's going to be a great one. So anyway, thanks for watching. More videos coming soon. Plenty to talk about over the next few weeks, and catch you later.